Hey, how's it going? This is Melinda and welcome to my channel. Today, I want to ask you, when did this happen? I am going to be showing some records that are selling for astronomical prices. I don't really understand it. Maybe I've been living under a rock for a while. I'm just really surprised that these classic rock records are selling for the prices they are. I'm going to talk about that with you and also talk to you and show you records that I got from the very first record fair I've ever been to. It was really cool. I'll talk to you about what I liked about the record fair, what I didn't care for. So if you're not a subscriber to my channel, please subscribe, hit the like button and the notification bell. I thank you so much for your support. It really does help my channel out if you do that. Let's go ahead and get started. So over the weekend, my husband and my daughter and I went to a really nice store. It's a used book and record store. My daughter is big into books and I'm big into records. So again, my poor husband, he actually likes looking at DVDs, so it kind of works out for all of us. But I came across this one record and the price just kind of struck me, okay? I'm talking about Fleetwood Mac. This is a really great record. It's the first one Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks appeared on with Fleetwood Mac, their new lineup at the time. And like I said, it's a great record. It was an original. This is a Mo-Fi version that I have. Thank you, Brian in Tennessee, for giving me this record. It's an original. Originals sound wonderful. It was in very clean condition. It was still in the shrink, and the vinyl looked pretty good on it. But the price tag was $42.95, which struck me as high. I thought, well, okay, maybe it's because it's in mint condition or really, really clean. Maybe they priced it wrong. I don't know. I've just, my classic rock collection, I really, other than filling holes that I will show in this video from the record fair, my classic rock was mostly purchased several years ago when record prices were still fairly low. So $42.95 for that was a little bit of an eyebrow raise for me. But I kept flipping through and I ran into this one. And it's Fleetwood Mac Rumors. I don't know if they've ever pressed more records than they have of Rumors. Rumors is a very popular record. There's a gazillion of them out there. I didn't even look to see if this was in clean condition. It didn't strike me as being like pristine or anything. $49.95 for a very basic original, which is cool. Originals are cool. Version of Fleetwood Mac's Rumors. So I thought, okay, when did that record become so expensive too? Am I just in a crazy expensive record store? Maybe. It had never been before, and I go there often. I always find really great stuff, but those were a couple little eye-openers. Another eye-opener I don't have was one that I ran into. It was Lynyrd Skynyrd's Gold and Platinum. That is an album I'd love to have. It's a 2 LP set. It's a greatest hits compilation. They had a fairly clean version of it, a copy of it, for $40. And that's just not one. That's one I actually was taking for granted. I'd see it a couple occasionally and I think, I'll wait for a cleaner copy, or I'll get it later, because I see it a lot. Is it really a $40 record now? I don't know. So, we could say maybe the record store I went to is a little nutty. Maybe they're really pushing the envelope on prices. But you know what? I've also been watching vinyl auctions, and I think they're a lot of fun. I really like them. I occasionally buy if I see something I really, really want. But you know what? Some of the prices on classic rock records have shocked me. So this is one of them. Duran Duran's Rio. This is a great record, and I would say, yeah, you got to have it in your collection. It's terrific. It's the best of the 80s, in my opinion. Hungry Like the Wolf, Rio, great, punky, alternative music. I don't know. Duran Duran just was really, really great. A really great band, and this is my favorite album by them. This at an auction sold for $80. I sat there and watched it in disbelief. And it wasn't the record store owner who pushed it for $80. It was an auction. The record store owner charged a very reasonable opening bid. And it was the people in the bidding process that drove it up to $80. Now I know it's easy. You could say, well, they just got caught up in the auction. But wow, I mean, at some point, don't you think, okay, that's too much. I am drawing back on that, but $80, that was really shocking. Is it worth it? It was probably a really clean copy of it. But wow, I just didn't know. When did this happen? When did vinyl records start becoming so expensive, especially classics like this? Another one that really shook me, I was watching a different auction, and this record came up for sale. It was still sealed, so maybe that had played a little part in the price that it went for. Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. This is one I see all day, every day, usually opened, not sealed. I'll give you that. There was a little corner ding on this one. If the right people see this, they'll know, they'll get the inside joke. It sold for over $80. A sealed original of Saturday Night Fever. I mean, $80 for sealed. Okay, I'm just shocked. I could see where you get a really clean version of it. Does that mean a clean version that's opened is now worth $40? I don't know. I just was really shocked that at an auction, this album would go for over $80, no matter what it was like, still sealed or open in perfect shape. That stunned me. So that was another one that really grabbed my attention. So it's not just that I went to one store and saw ridiculous prices. I've actually been seeing these records in auctions go for crazy money too. And this is the kicker for me. Let's talk about this one, Van Halen, 5150. Now, mind you, mine's a Japanese pressing. I don't have a US pressing. I thought I did. I couldn't find it, but I just grabbed this one just to show us an example. This one was in auction. And yes, I realize the Sammy Hagar Van Halen era of records is very hard to get. And I could make a separate video on that, and I might, because this is just driving me crazy. But this sold in auction for over $100. A US pressing, not the Japanese pressing. I don't really know which one's worth more money, to be honest with you. I don't remember a time like when I was looking for this record where it was anywhere close to $100. Again, I understand the excitement of an auction might have brought somebody to their knees and they overpaid, or maybe that's what it's going for now. I don't know. It just shocked me. So I have a few theories, and I understand. I just last week showed a box set that cost a lot of money, so I'm not judging at all. I'm the last person who can judge, right? But here's my thoughts. Have we gotten to a point where people like me a few years ago bought up all these records? And again, these are common records. They pressed a gazillion of these records. But have collectors like me of my age bought all of these up? They're sitting in our collections. These are records that were probably bought for people of my age. It's not the people that are like in their 80s now that are maybe dying off and their record collections are getting back in circulation. People like me at this age that are going to live for quite a while longer, I hope. Are we hanging on to these records, making the few that come into auction or come into a record store highly collectible and very expensive? That's maybe part of it. Maybe the records that I saw in the auctions and at that store were just extreme versions of records in really mint and clean condition. Maybe that's harder to find than I think. I don't know. But I just thought, wow, I did not know when the price of these records really took an uptick. Maybe it's just an anomaly. Maybe it's just something I've been noticing lately, but wow, that shocked me. And I want to know what you all think, what you observe when you're watching the vinyl auctions, when you're going to your record stores. Are you still seeing those titles for fair prices? Let me know in the comments below. And now I want to talk to you about The really cool record fair I went to, the first one I ever went to, was in St. Augustine, Florida. It was at the St. Augustine Amphitheater, which is very cool. I loved the location of it. I have been to a concert there. I got to see ZZ Top and John Fogerty. They were both teamed up on the same tour. It was a great show. I wouldn't say it was the best concert I've ever been to, but as far as having fun at a show, it was one of the best. We had so much fun there. We had great seats. We were in the 6th row. The people around us were really lively and fun. So I really loved the location of it. Having said that, some of the people who were set up, the record sellers, some of them were in shade, some of them were in the sun. It was a super hot day that day. And so it was kind of miserable in that regard. And for that, I give my husband props because he doesn't collect records. And I was there for 3.5 hours in 90-degree plus weather with very little shade. So I think it's like the equivalent if I had to go, like the store AutoZone was outside and it was 90 some degrees and I had to stay there for 3.5 hours. That's like worst case scenario for me. That would be horrible. But my husband did it. He helped me out, looked through records. I'm going to show you the records that I got and point out a few of the things that I really liked. So I just showed you really expensive records. Well, at this record fair, what's really cool, if you bring cash and you're willing to do some negotiation, a lot of the record sellers, if not all of them, negotiated, and that really helped bring the prices down. They had some pretty good prices. They were a little on the higher side, what you pay for at a record store. But if you bought multiple records, they, took off a little here and there and really helped you out. So let's go ahead and get started. This is one I bought. I had a $20 bill. This is Billy Idol's Charmed Life. And this one has the hit Cradle of Love on it. I've never seen this particular record out in the wild. That song was really cool. It brings me to a wonderful time. I actually saw a movie, had Andrew Dice Clay in it. I think it was Fast Fairlane. I'm pretty sure this song was played in that movie. And I really liked it. I think the whole album is pretty good. I've got to listen to it more, get used to it. I'm very familiar and with Rebel Yell, it's very nostalgic. It has a lot of memories. So this one has some really cool sound to it. There's a little bit of songs where you hear a little bit of the song Flush for Fantasy in it. A little bit of a Sting sound at times, and other times it's just heavy rock. So really cool. This came out in 1990, so not easy to find on vinyl. And I offered a $20 bill, and they took it. So I was thrilled with that. Now, the next 2 records I bought in a bundle from another seller. This is Alan Parsons Project's Eye in the Sky. What makes this one very cool, it is an original with this gold foil look to it. Only the first pressings, to my knowledge, were like that, making it really cool and special. The vinyl inside is like a translucent. If you hold it up to the light, you can see through it. It sounds phenomenal. And I've been debating, you all let me know in the comments. It does have the hype sticker. It's still in shrink. I like that, but at the same time, I think this album cover with this gold foil is so pretty that I almost think this is a distraction. Should I take the shrink off and save the hype sticker or just leave it on? It's protected this record all this time and kept it clean and beautiful, the shrink wrap. So I kind of like that shrink wrap can do that for records, but at the same time, I'm going to be putting it in a beautiful sleeve. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. Sounds great. That was a cool record. I bought that one along with Lou Reed's Rock and Roll Animal, a killer live album. This one is on the Tan RCA label. It's a Dynaflex version, but it still sounds really great. And it's a great concert. And I bought both of those. And when I bought them in bulk, I ended up getting both of those for $20. So again, I thought that was a really cool deal. This next one, y'all laugh. It's fine. I don't mind. Richard Marx. So this was a $3 record. They asked $5, but in negotiations, it ended up being $3. It has the song Right Here Waiting. I love that one. I'm not going to apologize for liking a little Richard Marx here and there. It's not a record I'm going to grab every day, but for $3, I like the music of it. The song Children of the Night is on here. Satisfied is on here. Angelie is on here. And of course, the biggest juggernaut hit, Right Here Waiting. So I like that one. Also, along with that Richard Marx record from the same seller, I found this really cool Bob Dylan Live. It was a really cool one. Mick Taylor is with him on guitars for this concert, and I really love the track listing on it. Highway 61 Revisited, Maggie's Farm, It Ain't Me Babe, Tangled Up in Blue, Ballad of the Thin Man, Girl from North County, Tombstone Blues. Of course, it's weird when there is a live album and Like a Rolling Stone isn't on it, but I like that he kind of goes a little deeper in this one, and it's a really solid record. Anytime I see a Bob Dylan live album, I'm going to grab it, because no live album or no live performance by Bob Dylan is ever the same. They're always different. He takes different styles. He makes different choices artistically. So that was a super cheap record too. I think it was more along the lines of $5, killer stuff. Now the next three records I am thrilled about. These are ones I've been looking for in my collection, and they've just eluded me, or maybe at the time the price was too high, so I passed on them. This is British Steel by Judas Priest, Breaking the Law, and Living After Midnight. Very cool songs. Been wanting this Judas Priest album for a long time, and it was a little more on the pricey side, but it was one of those deals where I bought three records and he gave me a killer price on them. This one was one I've been wanting for so long. Very excited about this. David Bowie's Young Americans. This one is on... Now, it's a first pressing. It's an Indianapolis pressing. The first pressings in Indianapolis were on this tan label. Again, it's a thinner one. It's a thinner vinyl, but it was in really good condition. And I think this record actually sounds really, really good. The saxophone playing is great. I really like this one. Of course, Young Americans is on here, as well as the hit Fame. And to me, the introduction to those songs were from movies like Young Americans. There is a little tiny part of one of my favorite movies, 16 Candles, where they play a little slice of the song Young Americans. It's really funny. It's an era where a scene that's just really hilarious to me. And then the song Fame is also on the Pretty Woman soundtrack. But I also like, there's a really cool song on here. I think it's called Fascination. Make sure I get that name. Yeah, Fascination. I love that song. That was really killer too. So a great one by David Bowie. And to round out those three, I ended up getting the Eagles, On the Border. I had this record, and then when they announced it as a one-step, I am picking and choosing my one-steps very carefully. I'm getting all of the Van Halen ones, but I didn't want to get all of the Eagles. This was one of those I passed on when it comes to the one-steps. And I went to put on the old copy I had, and I didn't realize it, but it sounded terrible. So I got an upgrade, and this one sounds really, really nice. And of course, it's got some really big hits on it. The Best of My Love is on here. Already Gone. James Dean and Old 55. So this one I think is, for me, not one step worthy. And they asked $20 for it, but I got a bundle deal where I bought three, and I got a really killer price on all three of these. But I didn't want the one step, didn't want to pay $125 for this record, but the original sounds great. So for those three records, they bundled them, and I ended up paying $50 for all three, which is a lot of money, but not as bad as when they're priced individually. If you bring cash, they will work with you on prices. So I was really pleased with that. Here's another one from Record Store Day, The Proclaimers. I missed this when it came out last April, and I was kind of kicking myself for it, but I ended up picking this one up, and it was still sealed, but they worked with me again on price. And this one I kind of bought more for my daughter. I'm not a big Proclaimers fan by any means. Got gorgeous vinyl, 2 LPs, and I love the colors. Really, really pretty. It has the song on here. Yeah, I'm Gonna Be and 500 Miles. So you all know that song. That was a big hit, and my Husband and daughter like to do the na 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 just to drive me crazy. They just kind of really funny that way. And it's a cool album. And I bought it because I knew it would mean a lot to my daughter. If she wants it, she can have it. She does have a vinyl collection, believe it or not. She was a vinyl collector even before I was. But she's so busy with medical school now and studying. She's on a budget, so she can't really buy a lot of records and doesn't have time to listen to them. So that one will probably end up in her collection before it's over. Finally, this is the big one. This was the coolest one. My husband and I agree this was the best find of the day. And when my husband gives something I like a thumbs up, it's gotta be super special. It's a progressive rock album. Jane is the band. Very, very cool. It is krautrock, prog rock, and it is on the Brain label. It's called Together. An extremely cool record. The guitar playing on prog rock from Germany, absolutely incredible. This sounds wonderful, and we really love it. Now, according to my husband's research, this was the second record ever released on the Brain label, and this is the first record by the band Jane. They went on to make a lot of records. They're not all living anymore, unfortunately. Oh, and see, if you see, this was $50. I did negotiate down to $40 for this record, which I think is worth it. It's in super clean condition, sounds great. Anytime I see the Brain label, I buy it. I had never heard of this band. I had never heard of this music, but it was on the Brain label. And I will do a Brain label blind buy any day, all day long. So let me know what you think of these finds. I will say this about the record fair we went to. It was extremely hot that day. So after an hour or two, I understand that things aren't going to smell good, and that, people sweat, life happens. Okay, I get that. But we were there for like 5 minutes and there was already a few people that reek. So here's my advice for record fairs like that, especially when you're outside. Bring cash, bring a good attitude, be patient because there's so many people there and there's so much to look at. Wear deodorant and clean clothes. Just do all that and you'll be in good shape. So anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think of these crazy prices that I talked about, as well as my finds from the record fair. Please subscribe to my channel. It really does help my channel to grow. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.